So hopefully everyone's in the right class. Android tablets for beginners. This is meant to be a class that sort of provides a introductory look at what the rage is about these Android tablets, how to go ahead and use them, interface basics. We're going to show off some of the apps that we enjoy using, Ted and I and some others on my staff, things that I've heard good things about from clients that we have. So we're going to touch on all the different things that are entailed with these Android tablet devices that are out there right now. As I said, everyone should have an agenda. There's two things that we printed out for everyone for the class. One's the agenda. It's front and back. It goes over all the different sections that we're going to be covering from our introduction as we move down into the actual how-to, the hands-on, the apps, all the cool stuff that we want to do with the tablets. And the other sheet is actually a cheat sheet for the interface. One side provides basics about what you see when you turn your tablet on, because I know that's scary to some people that haven't used an Android tablet before. So this gives you an overview of what all those items are if you ever forget. And the back of that provides a cheat sheet on all the commands you can use with Google Now. It's the voice search service. If you've heard of the Siri service on Apple or Cortana on Windows, this is Google's version of that. It's pretty powerful. Ted and I were playing around with it quite a bit earlier today, and it's very nifty with what it can do. So we're going to dedicate a little bit of time to that, show you some of those items that you can search for with just your voice, and we'll go over those aspects in just a tad. Without going too much further, I wanted to go ahead and introduce ourselves. I know we didn't say who we were or where we're from. My name is Derrick Wlodarz. I run a small IT consulting company here in Park Ridge. And we're going in our 4th year now of business. We provide residential, small business, mid-sized business support, and Teddy is one of my good friends. I've known him since middle school at this point, so we've known each other for quite some time. He works in technology at the Museum of Contemporary Art, downtown Chicago, so he works there day to day, but he comes out and helps me with these classes. I would have to say, if there's any Android expert that I know, this is the one. He is the go-to god of Android, everything Android. So I really wanted to make sure he was here for this class. I'm pretty good with Android, but he is by far, got some really good insight and knowledge. He's going to go over some of the things, especially with what's coming in with Android in the next month or two, all the new stuff that's going to be coming out. So we're going to be going into a lot of those different things with everyone here. When we get into the hands-on section of the class, feel free to follow along. Take your tablet out. I mean, that's what I was really hoping for this class, is that people were able to bring their tablets. Looks like we have a majority here that do have their tablets. Pull out your tablet and do your best to follow along as we continue here. One word that I wanted to say, again, we're going to be doing our class on this device, and this is a Nexus 10. This is a Google first-party device. This provides what's called the most kosher Android experience, and we did this because there are so many different variants of Android, so many tablets out there. We can't bring them all and show you how to use all of them, so we're going to show you how Google intended it to be used. And from there, you'll be able to see how the differences apply to some of the tablets you may have, like the Samsung Galaxy Tabs or the Kindle tablets, which are even larger variants of the Android ecosystem. So it's tough. Unlike Apple's iPad, where every iPad works the same way, the Android side is a little bit more fragmented. But again, we're going to show you all the basics that apply to 99% of devices out there on the market today. Okay?
And one thing to keep a note of, some of your tablets might be running a little bit older version of Android. It's fine. What we talk about should be covering majority of it. Not much usually changes over time. We'll show you what's coming up. We'll show you what has stayed the same as well.
Yeah, the picture that was used, it was tough to find a picture like this that provided the overview. This is going on about 2 years old, but I asked Ted and he confirmed there's not much that's changed on this image, so this should still be very similar no matter what specific version of Android you may be running on your tablet right now. Okay?
And a lot of what we talk about can relate to the phone as well. So if you have an Android phone, it's pretty much the same operating system, same setup as an Android tablet, so that you shouldn't be afraid of those two as well.
Feel free, as we're going along, the reason we make an agenda for every class that we do is so that you can sort of have a semblance, sort of have a baseline of where we're heading with the discussion here. And we like to include white space. Write your notes down, write your questions down. We do ask that if it's a pertinent question to what we're covering at the time, feel free to raise your hand and ask. You know, we like questions that interject at the right time. If it's something longer or more personal that you think might require a little bit longer response, wait till the end. We'll dedicate some formal Q&A time at the end for some of those longer questions for everyone as well. Okay? And the way this is going to work, again, we're going to get into the hands-on, into the actual tablet usage in just a little bit. I want to always provide some baseline knowledge, though, for those, because every time we do this class, there are some that haven't even purchased an Android tablet. So we want to go over some of those things about how do I buy a tablet? Should I get a tablet? As those questions we get time and time again. So that's why I want to just take a few moments to cover some of those things with everyone. Does anyone have any questions before we get started? Was anything, or otherwise we'll just dive right in. Okay. So for anyone that doesn't have an Android tablet, why would you want one of these things? If you already have one, this doesn't apply to you, obviously. But tablets are nice. Tablets have really picked up, especially the Android tablets over the last few years. They're very lightweight, very easy to carry around, especially much lighter than a laptop for a lot of people. So that's a really nice aspect about them, especially in the screen sizes, like the tablet that Ted brought, the little 7-inch. Is that 7-inch? Yep. Screen size on yours, Ted. Very easy. Even women can put it in their purse with them, take it along, and use it when they're on the go. They're great for traveling. And one thing I want to stress, this is one of the largest things that is important to realize, because out of everyone that asks me questions in terms of should I not get a laptop and just get a tablet, or do I need both, or can I get away with just one of them? One of the biggest things that I stress to people is that tablets are meant for consuming content, not creating content. If you want to be making PowerPoint presentations and spreadsheets and long letters, you probably should be on a laptop. But if you're looking to watch videos, watch Netflix, listen to the radio, do some light note-taking, things of that nature, tablet is probably a good bet for you. So you have to make that distinction for yourself before you just run out to the store and someone at Best Buy says, you should be getting a tablet, you don't need a laptop. You need to think about that first before purchasing one, because time and time again, I've got customers that said, my friend told me I didn't need a laptop, I could just get away with a tablet. Lo and behold, we have to buy them a laptop anyway, because a tablet was not meant for what they wanted to do with it. So you have to keep that in mind. The Android tablets, just like the Apple tablets out there, very simple to pick up and go. I like to state it that way. Pick up and go. We're going to be going over the interface and all the basics surrounding how the tablet works, but once you see it once you try it a few times, relatively simple to get the hang of. It's not like Windows or Mac OS where there are so many different options and settings and things you have to install and prep before you can use it. This is really a pick up and go device. They're meant to last a few years, toss it away, get a new one. That's really how tablets of this nature are meant to be. You got a large app store. We're going to go into some of the apps that we like to recommend, that we like to use ourselves. There's a ton of apps out there. Android, right next to Apple, has over 1 million apps at this point. There's more than enough selection to choose from. All kinds of great stuff out there. And anyone that's afraid to go in the App Store and find new things, we're going to go over how to find apps, how to search for apps, how to see if an app is reputable enough that you should install it. There is a problem with malware on the Android side you may have heard of in the news. We're going to show you how to avoid that as best as possible when you're out searching for apps.
And one thing to keep in mind, you have to have a Google account to sign into the Google Play Store. So keep that in mind. If you don't already have one, you will probably need to register one, and then you can sign in onto your tablet.
Yeah, a Google account is definitely required. You don't have to use it for your email. You don't have to do anything more with it. It's just the thing that ties you into being able to use that tablet going forward. And the last nice thing I like about especially Android tablets, is they're cheaper than the iPad. They're usually about $100 cheaper for the comparable size and specifications, and about $100 less in terms of a price point for comparable models. So I like that. If you're looking to save a little bit of money, Android tablets are definitely the way to go with that.
In fact, what is it? I saw a refurbished model of the Nexus 7 for $134. So really, really inexpensive now.
Yeah, you can go with refurbished units. There's a lot of options, on the market these days. Why shouldn't you get a tablet? Again, I know this is a class about tablets, but if you haven't gotten one yet, I always want to provide the devil's advocate argument. If you're looking to do a lot of creation on items, looking to use Microsoft Office, Office is not yet out for the tablets. We actually thought it was fully released by Microsoft. It wasn't out yet. And even when it does come out, it's going to be very rudimentary. It's going to have a lot of rough edges. So it's not going to be for the number crunchers or the Office, heavy Office users. Another thing is, and a lot of customers find this out the hard way, typing for long periods of time without any kind of keyboard cover that they do offer these keyboard covers. If you're going to be doing a lot of typing, it's kind of hard on a touchscreen because you have to realize you're either going to have the tablet face down on a table or on your lap, and it's just a very awkward position to be typing in for long periods of time. So many people that want to do a lot of typing on a tablet get one of the aftermarket covers that picks the tablet up, stands it up, and then you can type on it in that fashion.
Another option is voice typing actually through the tablet, which you could do, and it's improving day and day. So we're going to talk more about that later. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's an option. But sometimes you can't really talk, say in the theater or something like that. You're not supposed to type or do anything. So.
And the final item I wanted to touch on just briefly was, again, there are not as many ports on these tablets. There is limited accessibility that you can do in regards to connecting. And I've got some customers say, can I connect my headset and my keyboard and my big mouse to it? They're not meant to be used that way. If you want to do that kind of stuff, you should be getting a Surface tablet or one of these other laptop devices. An Android tablet's not going to be for someone that has a lot of accessories they want to use. Printing just started to become capable on the Android tablet side through what's Google's, what do they call that? The Cloud Print, Google Cloud Print you can do. So Apple has a very similar alternative that you can use on the iPads. Again, it's very basic. It doesn't work in every single app. So again, don't go out thinking you're going to be able to print out of everything that you see on the tablet. These are very baby steps that they're making with adding some of these things that we've seen on laptops over the last few years. And if you're going out to purchase a tablet, there's a lot of things that you can choose from when it comes to these devices. And I want to just point out some of the main things because, again, this is the question we get asked so many times. There's 1,000 tablets on the market. What should I be looking for? What matters the most on a tablet? On an Android tablet specifically. So screen size, again, if you want to get a device that's going to be more used for movie watching or doing a lot of videos or, especially if your vision is not the best, you might want to get a larger screen tablet. This is a 10-inch device. This is about as large as they come. I don't think they come too much larger than 10 inches, perhaps. But look for a larger screen size. Don't get a little 7-inch device if you have a tough time with vision and seeing small screens.
I will say though, a 7-inch is perfect for an alarm clock. I use my Nexus 7 as an alarm clock every morning. So.
But on the flip side, if you're looking to put it in your purse, take it with you on the go more and more without having to put it in a separate bag of some sort, get a little smaller size screen. So there's a lot of options out there, especially on the Android side, all kinds of different screen sizes. There are a lot of different build qualities and materials that you can get in terms of what these tablets are made out of. I like the Nexus 10 a lot because it has a nice rubber backing. You almost don't need a separate cover for it. I could really drop this thing around on tables and hold onto it easily because it has a very nice rubber back. It's got a very good build quality in that regard. Some tablets like the iPad have the glossy back or the metallic back, and it's nice that, on the outset, but they're easy to scratch. You have to always get covers for them. So that's something to definitely keep in mind for yourself.
I always keep hearing people have dropped their iPad accidentally. It literally slips out of their hands.
Yeah.
On many
So very easy to drop. So if you're a little more clumsy like me and you want something that holds easily, look at the tablet, make sure it's got a material that's going to feel good in your hands when you're using it. Battery life, obviously the bigger the screen is, the less battery life you're going to get. The smaller size tablets with a smaller screen are going to probably get on the upper side of the spectrum, 10, 12, 13, maybe 14 hours of battery life on it. A little bit larger device like this, you're probably looking at about 8 to 9 hours. Still much better than a laptop, but again, think about that depending on how much you're traveling, how much battery life that you want to have on your device. Ports are also something to think about. This is something that a lot of people take as an afterthought. They don't think about this. Hey, I want to plug my tablet into my TV, and they get a device that doesn't have the port they need, which would be like a micro HDMI or a micro USB port on it. Some of the very cheap tablets don't have these kind of ports on them. So think about that before you purchase. What am I going to be doing with this down the road, not just what I want to do right now, because you don't want to get caught in a situation where you can't plug in to what you're looking to plug into that tablet. There are also two different types of touchscreens. This is very important for you to realize. I know you see on the commercials a lot now with Microsoft showing off the pen handwriting. While that is the case for a lot of Microsoft's tablets, not all Android tablets let you write nicely with a touch style pen. This tablet allows me to use a stylus, but it's not a fine tip stylus. It's a bumpy point. I don't have a better name for it, but it's a bumpy point stylus that simulates a finger. So I can do handwriting on it, I can do drawing on it, but it's not going to be very precise, not going to be very detailed. It's meant for being an aid in movement and navigation. So if you're looking for more of a nice handwriting tablet to make notes on within something like OneNote or Evernote, which we're going to show off, you might want to look at a tablet like the Galaxy Tab. I know that is one of the Android ones that has the very nice stylus support for pen handwriting. One other thing that you don't have too much selection on, you don't have too much say in, but what kind of firmware, what kind of software does that tablet run? In the Android world, there's two sides. There's either the customized side, which is the Samsungs, the LGs, the Motorola's that you see on the market, and then there are the stock, what we call the stock devices. The Nexus 10 is considered a stock device. This is a first-party tablet from Google, and these tend to have support for a longer period of time, whereas I work with some customers that got like the Motorola tablet or one of those other ones, and they say, hey, I don't get updates anymore. I can't use this app with it. You know, it didn't really get supported for that long period of time, and that is the case. You know, if you don't go with a first-party Nexus device, you're going to get stuck in the upgrade ceiling, as we call it, where you don't get any more upgrades after a year and a half or 2 years or something like that. So,
what about
go ahead.
the Nook?
The Nook does Nook even run on Android?
Yes, it runs Android.
It runs
very,
Android?
very modified.
It's a highly modified, it's like the Kindle device. It's a very specific, and it's controlled by Barnes & Noble, so it's up to them how long they're going to be supporting every single device. Barnes & Noble seems to be on a release cycle of about every 6 to 8 months with a new Nook device, maybe a little bit longer. So I don't know, I'm not too familiar with the Nook devices, but you're at the helm of Barnes & Noble with that. So
Could I download apps and everything? Sure.
you can,
Yes.
but the App Store is not the same as what you see, what we're going to be showing off. Again, that's a very locked down, walled garden version of Android, where Barnes & Noble, I think, has to approve every single app that goes in their App Store.
You've got Google. You can go to your Google store.
Yeah.
You do have all the Google?
Yeah.
Oh, I might be
On
wrong.
a Nook.
I might be talking about an older version. I just know I've worked with the Kindles in the past, and they were very locked down
This is
with
the
what you
one
can
that
get.
came out after, how old's your Nook?
About 2 years old.
Okay, maybe not. This is the newer one. This came out this year.
Okay.
And
And
it
you do have.
It has the additional cord and everything else.
Okay.
Well, I have Google though. I mean, I use Google as a.
And we could take a look at it. I mean, they probably have Google search, but what I'm talking about, and what we'll get to, is the Google Play Store. And that's the
Right.
playground where you get all the fun
Right.
apps that are
Okay.
available. And I know on the Kindle side, that was a very tough thing because Amazon locked theirs down very heavily.
And
So,
let me mention though, Google has basically, they have a framework. It's Google Services Framework, and that's its own application. A lot of these operating systems that are under Android may not be their latest version of Android, but as long as they have the update for Google Services, a lot of the apps that you are familiar with should theoretically work fine because it has this API or framework in place for it to work. So keep that in mind. Just because you're on an older version of Android doesn't necessarily mean you're completely out of luck when it comes to getting access to all these apps.
yeah. But you do have to keep in mind, just like on the computer side, where if you're running Windows XP still, you can't install a lot of the new stuff that's coming out. The same problem will exist on tablets. It's just that time frame is much shorter because tablets get released every 6 months or so. So, you know, you might be able to use that tablet and get all the new apps that are coming out for 2.5 years, but if they don't provide new updates for the main system, after that point, you might be locked out. And that's when we get the phone call, hey, I can't install the new, Kindle app. I can't install the new YouTube or whatever they want to put on. And it's because they got locked in and they're not getting any more core system updates. So.
And another thing to keep in mind is if you search something on the Google Play Store, it won't always pop up if that device does not support the app. So keep that in mind. Say you search it on your computer, it pops right up, you can see it. You're like, great, I want to install this on my tablet. You search it on your tablet, it disappears.
Yeah. It's a great point because we were searching for Microsoft Office because you have it on your phone, but we couldn't get it on a tablet. You know, who would have thought that that it would be that way? But that's just how it is. If your device can't support that app for whatever reason, your friend might be able to see it like on his phone, but I'm not going to see it on my tablet. So that kind of a fragmentation problem, still exists a little bit in Android. So be mindful of that.
Manufacturers are improving though. I believe certain manufacturers have given promises that they'll support Android for an extended amount of time. So you might have to check with the manufacturer of how long they'll support Android for when it comes to giving a release. But they're not going to be immediate. They're going to give you, maybe when Google releases an operating system, they're going to then 2 or 3 months later release it to your device. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's another problem, is that people see all the fancy new features from the new versions on TV or with someone they talk with, and their device might get it sooner than theirs. And unlike Apple, every device gets it at the same time. On Android, it depends on on your manufacturer and whether they're going to allow that to happen right now or they're going to delay it for a few months. So again, something just to keep in mind because we get the calls at least a once or twice a month about that. Again, we were talking about the Nexus 10. That's the device we're going to be using for the demonstration here today. Again, it has a very nice large HD display, 10 inches. Uses the stock Android firmware, which means it's going to get updates for a very long period of time, not forever, but a very long period of time. It's got a good port selection on it. This has USB on it, so I can connect it to the computer, I can connect it to accessories, things like that. And it also has on the bottom of it a display HDMI port. We're going to connect this to the projector. You're going to see exactly what we're doing on the tablet. But also what most average people are going to do with it is connect it to their TV. I have a lot of customers that tell me, hey, I want to get a tablet for watching Netflix off of because they don't want to buy a Roku or get an Xbox to do that or some other device. You can get a tablet, plug it into the cable, and watch Netflix right on your TV with it. So it's kind of an all-in-one sort of device that you can do all kinds of things of that nature with. Or take pictures on here and display them on your TV when the family comes over, things of that nature. So some of the things to think about with the other things you can do with a tablet besides just playing games and looking at content and news and things like that.
And to add to that, Google does have their Chromecast. If you're not familiar with it, you can buy it on the Google Play Store in the devices section. And this will allow you to kind of skip the wire. You can plug it into your HDMI port on the TV. You might need to give it some more power through a micro USB on the device, but once that's there, the setup's relatively easy. You have your tablet or phone on the same network as the Chromecast, and then it'll sync together. And then the next version of Android, which I'll get to in a second, will be able to support instant streaming. Certain applications now are able to stream from the device to the Chromecast, so you don't even need a wire. So that's one thing I wanted to briefly interject with.
Okay. So the new Android's coming out in just a month or two. At this point, we're just going to touch briefly on what's coming, because you're going to start seeing that in your devices very, very shortly. So we want to just let you in on some of the things that they're putting into it. Better battery life. I guess, Ted, you want to touch on some of the main points really quickly so we can get going.
Right now, the current Android, the next Android operating system is going to be called Android L, at least that's the code name for it. They're most likely going to be calling it Lemon Meringue Pie. One thing to keep a note of is Android versions kind of have dessert names associated with it. The current one is called Kit Kat. The one before, there was donut, cupcake, eclair, froyo, which is frozen yogurt, gingerbread, honeycomb,
you catch the drift.
Jelly bean, yeah. So they always pick a dessert name for their newest operating system. The next one's going to be Lemon Meringue Pie, and that's going to be either denoted 4.5 or 5.0. They're finalizing some touches with it. It's going to be released sometime in October. When, I don't know. I think there's a conference that's going to be happening sometime, and they're going to release all the details on that. And with that, they're also going to release a new tablet. So you can wait. If you're planning to upgrade, wait a couple more months if you can, because that'll allow you. They're going to, I believe, release the Nexus 9, I think, rather than the Nexus 7, so they're going to do an upgrade for that. So I just wanted to touch base a little bit and kind of give you kind of a preview of what to expect, because I'm not sure when we're going to be doing another class, and I wanted to kind of tie this in while I had a chance. So let me kind of go over. So when it comes to an operating system for Android, Google has specified kind of what their focus is going to be on, and there's really kind of 2 or 3 things that they'd like to nitpick when it comes to their problems that they have with the operating system to kind of fix. One of the biggest things they're working on right now is their design. So I'm going to just show you a little YouTube video of how what their design philosophy is and kind of how they're kind of changing the game. Actually, oh no.
Well, because I'm not an HDMI. So.
Oh.
The other window.
Where is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so some things I wanted to talk about a little bit about Android L or Lemon Meringue Pie. That name may change. They're next gonna focus on battery life. I'm gonna show you kind of a little bit of a demo of actually Android L in a second. The next thing they're going to focus on is better performance. Pretty much they're promising 2 times the performance than what you're currently running. There's going to be a lot of back-end changes. They're changing kind of their runtime, their file system, and they're going to be supporting 64-bit processors, if that makes a difference on that. So you're going to see, as time goes on the next couple months, more and more better performing tablets.
Sir?
Yes?
No, I'm sorry.
And let me just quickly go over, they're going to work on better corporate data separation, as well as if they're coming out with a Google Watch. There's a few manufacturers already, and it's pretty much going to be operating kind of like keyless entry, like you're with your car. You can unlock your phone or your tablet just by having your watch nearby, so you don't have to necessarily always enter a PIN. There's going to be better support with their Google Wear technology, and also support for Android TV. And then now I'm going to show you a little bit.
So just really quickly, Ted's going to plug in his phone. He's running the test version here, really quick.
Yep, the preview version of Android.
Oh.
Where is this? All right, so right now you're seeing Android L. This is the preview. Oops, I'm just standing right in that. Preview version of Android. So I'm just going to briefly go over a couple things that have changed with it. Immediately when I started up, I have the lock screen. So they've changed a few different features. Rather than having a swipe to unlock that you normally expect, you have it just, you could instantly swipe up. If I lock it again, I have all my notifications right on my lock screen. I don't have to change anything. So when I scroll up to unlock, you'll notice it's a little bit different. I have the new soft keys here that I'm tapping on right now are a little bit different. But let me quickly show you a couple of new features. Again, I mentioned they're working on battery saving. So one of their new features that they're adding is battery saver mode. And what this will do is at a certain percentage, it'll shut down certain services and enable longer battery life. So you don't have to necessarily worry too much on trying to make sure to shut down your Wi-Fi because my battery's about to go down.
Yeah, a lot of our customers, if they have one complaint about Android phones, it's that their battery life is not the best always. And Google's working on making that a lot better in that, to be on par with some of the other, devices that have really good battery life on the market.
Another thing I wanted to touch base on is multitasking. They've really changed the way of how it looks, feels, and you can kind of move around Android without necessarily closing apps. So if I wanted to swipe something away, I could swipe it away if I don't want to see it again, or I can just go right in without necessarily worrying too much about anything. And now the nice thing about this is their focus is on material design. This is a new app they just updated. It's their Google News and Weather, and their focus right now is design. So they're trying to make things look, feel smooth.
So as opposed to before, where we always have to go in separately to a weather app, separately to a news app, again, consolidating some of these things so people don't have to go to 50 different places to find these items on their tablets and phones.
Another thing to keep in mind is the notifications are going to look a little different. You can expand the notifications, as well as the quick settings, which we'll talk to you about a little bit later, also offer a little bit better placement. You can actually go and get to things quicker. At least their mentality is you can get to you can change settings more easily. And one thing I wanted to mention, actually, what's really nice about Android L is their cast screen functionality, which is right here. Now this is not going to work because I don't have the Chromecast working. But again, without any wires, if I had this working properly and set up right now, I'd be able to show you. I wouldn't need a wire or HDMI cable to connect to. I could just go straight to the Chromecast, which is Sorry?
Can you cast Chrome browser?
Well, that's the thing. With Android L, focus is going to be on casting the whole device over. So if you want
what you see here is what you'd be able to put on your TV, for example, which is what most people are thinking. So I just wanted to show you a brief kind of new features, new design elements that are coming to Android in the next couple months while I had an opportunity. All right. All right, so we're going to go ahead, we're going to jump in. You get a little sneak peek there of what's coming on your tablets in the next few months or so. Let's go ahead, let's jump on this tablet that we have here for demonstration purposes, and we will go into some of these interface basics, go into the notion of apps, the App Store, and all those other items here. So let me plug back in to here, and we will get started. Okay, I guess I'll go this way so people can see everything that's up on the screen here that we have. Okay. So some of the basics about the physical aspects of the tablet itself. Okay, we'll get to the interface in just a moment. But again, on whatever kind of tablet you have, again, the placement of the ports are going to be a little bit different. But what do most of the tablets come with these days? Almost always you're going to have a headphone port that you can plug a headphone set into, so you can listen to music, things of that nature for yourself. As I mentioned, you're going to have the USB port. That's where, again, if you haven't already, that's where you're going to charge your device. That's also where you can plug it into a computer, or in some cases plug it into a screen like this, as Ted was doing a little bit just a while ago. In terms of buttons that you're going to have on the tablet, again, it may be different, but what I've noticed is there's two sets of buttons on almost all tablets. You have a power or a sleep button on the tablet. On this one, it's towards the top edge of the screen over here, and then a volume rocker. Volume down, volume up. There we go. And again, there's multiple ways to control volume. I'm going to go into the settings area where we can control audio through there as well. So there's not just one way to do volume on these devices these days, which is nice. Our tablet has, again, a video port on it that I'm plugging into to do our demonstration here today. If you feel inclined you want to do something like this too, you can definitely do so if your tablet has a port like that, or more likely to a TV device that you may have at home. That's what a lot of customers that I talk with tend to be doing these days. And what's nice about going through that video port, especially if it's the micro HDMI like this, it carries not only the video but the audio as well. You don't have to worry like in the old days. I got to make the video cord and the audio cord get to the TV somehow. Not anymore. One cable should do the trick for you to get that going. And then speakers, our tablet has speakers on the left and right hand side. If it gets muffled and you're holding over the speakers, obviously, put your hands underneath it if you're getting a muffled audio sound. It just depends on where your speaker placement may be with the tablet. Okay? All right. So we went over some of the common buttons here. Now in terms of the software interface, sorry for keep turning this tablet, it's got the auto rotation turned on, so that's why it's changing direction on it for us. If you have a tablet that was made within the last 2 years, you should have these 3 buttons on the bottom of the screen here. Bottom left-hand corner, you'll see a back button. If I hit that, no matter where I am, if I go into, see all my apps over here, I can always hit that back button. And you can see where I'm pressing. It'll show on the screen what exactly I'm doing, so you can follow, the presses in that nature with what's going on. This button in the middle here is the home button, whereas the back button will go ahead and take you back to the previous place that you just were. The home screen button will go ahead and just take you back all the way back to the home screen. So again, it's an easy way to, get back to square one. A lot of people get confused. They go into apps and they don't know how to get out of the apps. For example, it's very simple. All we have to do, hit the home button, and that will take us back to our home screen that we have. If we have multiple different apps that we went into, another neat item that we can use is the recent apps button, I believe it's called, or the app switcher, which is the button to the right of the home button. If we go ahead and we hit that, we'll go ahead and we'll have a scroll list that we can go ahead and see all the different things that are open. Now this is the current version of what Ted was showing, where it's going to be more of like a Rolodex style that's going to go up and down for us. But at least for now, it should be fairly similar to this, where it's just a scroll left to right, use your finger, move along there. You'll see all the different things that we have open on our tablet. We're going to be going into a lot of these apps in just a little bit. But again, makes it very easy when you're going in and out of different things. Just like on a computer, we have things on our taskbar when we open items. This is in essence, the virtual version of the taskbar on an Android tablet. So we can easily go between. If I was in the Play Store, I can go back to Play just by clicking on it. Oh, I don't want to be over there anymore. I want to go back to, for example, let's see, back to my sports app over here, so I can check the sports score on the current games going on right now. So again, I can very easily do that with the app switcher or recent apps. A lot of different names for that actual button.
And you should also be able to swipe that app away to close it, I believe.
Oh, really? Does that work as well?
Why don't you go to the app switcher and swipe it up?
Okay. So I take an app and he's right. Very similar to how the new Windows does some of the things on the start screen. So yeah, I want to close out a crazy taxi. There you go. Learn something new every day. Just swipe up, and it'll close that item right out for you. That's pretty easy.
One thing to keep in mind, Android is smart enough to know when an app is closed, and it'll hibernate it. But if you're having battery life problems, one thing to keep a note of, might be a good idea to just close those apps to get out of it. Just swipe them away, and that battery life, or restart your device, and that may improve your battery life on it.
Yeah, tablets are very sensitive to having too much open behind the scenes, right? If you're watching Netflix and then you went into a map application and then you went into Angry Birds or whatever you may have on your tablet, the more that's sitting open behind the scenes, the more memory it's going to use, the more processing power, the shorter the battery life's going to be. So you may have to go in there from time to time and take a look and see what's running and close some of those things out for yourself. So very simple to do. Or if you didn't want to waste all the time, you got too many things open, you can always just hold down your power button on the tablet and it'll ask you to power off the device and you can power it back on. It's also a very simple way, just like restarting your computer. When in doubt, restart is what I tell customers. Well, same thing exists on the tablet, right?
Keep in
it's
mind,
a computer in the end anyway.
Applications such as Google Maps and Waze will not close when you hit the home button. They will stay open unless you hit the back button several times. So keep that in mind.
There's also this notion. There's also this notion of home screens and then your all apps area. Okay, what we're on over here is our primary home screen. This screen over here that we see right here, up over here, is our customized primary home screen. Is that what they call it, the primary home screen? It's the primary space you see when you hit your home buttons, right? All of your favorite, most commonly used apps you can place over here. This is like your desktop on your Windows computer. All that stuff that you use most often is here. However, there is a notion of having multiple screens that you can switch between. So if I swipe my finger from left to right or right to left, I can go between other areas where I can place items into. So again, I can make 2, 3, 4 different areas and I can customize them. Maybe all of my video watching apps will be on this screen. Maybe I put on this screen for myself all of my news apps. I make another screen for all of my sports apps. You can customize it to your heart's content. That's the part of the beauty of Android, right? You can do a lot of different things like that with this. So on the bottom of the screen, what you'll see is a apps bar, and those are common apps that will be visible no matter what part of the screen you're on at any given time. Those stay the same. Those are the apps that you always need access to. You can customize any of those apps that are there, and I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. As the notion of putting app icons on your screen and removing them works the same way, no matter if it's on the actual home screen that we're on or if it's on the bottom common app bar for ourselves, okay? If there's something that you can't find on one of your screens, a lot of people call us and say, my gosh, I just installed Angry Birds and I can't find it for the life of me. Well, it's probably because they don't have a shortcut to it on one of their home screens. So what do they have to do? Just go ahead and hit this little button. It's got the 6 little dots at the bottom of the screen right above the home button. And if you click on that, that is like the all-inclusive area where all the different apps are on your tablet. If you go left to right on here, every single app that you have installed will show up on here for you. So this is a complete list of everything that we have. And if I keep on going, I'll see all the different widgets that I can put on. And we're going to go over the concept of widgets in just a moment. There are apps and then there are widgets. So let's go back to our home screen over here. How would I go ahead and how would I put an icon on my home screen for myself? Well, very simply, let's go ahead. Let's go into our 6 little button full app area and say, for example, what do I not have on my home screen? One thing I don't have that I want would be OneNote. So let me go ahead. I'm going to find OneNote over here. I'm going to hold on to it with my finger. And now I just have to drag and drop either on my primary home screen, drag my finger along, or maybe I want to put it over here on the second home screen or a third home screen. I want it over here. I want it on my primary home screen. So I'm going to dump it right up there. All I was doing was holding onto it with my finger, dragging around, and I let go wherever I wanted to place it. It's as simple as that. I could do it with my stylus as well if I wanted to. I can move any of these icons around for myself, so I can customize my home screen however I want. If I hold on to, for example, my little Overdrive Media icon over here, I can move him over here. I can move Skype down if I wanted to. So again, you can really customize this entirely. And again, how much space you have and how many apps you can place on your home screen depends on how big of a screen size you have. A Nexus 7 like Ted has over here is not going to allow as many icons as I can get on a Nexus 10. I have a bigger screen. Again, that's, it's going to be a little bit different. I could do the same thing with moving around my widgets. So I have 2 widgets on my home screen right now. Ted, do they consider the top search bar a widget? Is that considered the
Yes.
search area? Okay.
You cannot change that in stock.
Can't change that? Okay.
You need a third-party knowledge.
Okay, that's fine. So the top search bar needs to stay there. We can't do anything about that. But for example, my little clock that I have over here, that's considered a widget. That's considered special functionality that shows up on the screen. It's sort of a mini app, so to say. So this, for example, is the time. And I can go ahead, I can move this widget around for myself and place it in different areas. If I don't want it there, I can get rid of it. If I didn't want it, I can go ahead and hold on to it. Scroll up to the top, move it up to the top, let go, and it removes it entirely for me. So I took that widget off, and I could do the same exact thing with any of the other apps. If I didn't want my Kindle icon here, because I'm not doing much reading on Kindle right now, bloop, just get rid of it.
Bear in
But
mi-
it's still on your application.
It's
Yes.
still installed. Yes, just because you get rid of it on the home screen or one of the home screens doesn't mean it gets uninstalled. You actually have to go into the full app list and do the same function here. For example, we'll take Solitaire off. Hold on to Solitaire, and there's an area up here that says uninstall. If I drop it up here, it actually uninstalls and it asks me, do I want to uninstall? Okay.
And if you want it back again, you're going to have to go back through the Play Store and then install it through there.
Yeah. So it's very simple to put stuff on and take stuff off in that manner. So again, I showed everyone how to move an app icon back onto your home screen for yourself. Now let's show you how to move a widget. If I wanted to move an actual widget for myself on the home screen. And widgets are small little mini apps that show up on one of your home screens, and they are controlled and turned on by apps that you put on. So for example, this one weather app that Ted told me about that we added to our list has all these different widgets that are accompanying it. So for example, I could have this little widget here that I can go ahead and add to my screen. And this will show me, looks like, 5-day weather forecast. Yep. I might have taken it off there. Let's bring it back. Drop it right there.
Hit done.
Oh, that's what I didn't do. I didn't hit done. Okay, so there we go. I just added a widget that shows me the weather forecast and the current temperature for the next 5 days. Pretty neat. Maybe I like that, maybe I don't. If I don't want it here, I can go ahead, I can move it off to another home screen. Maybe I'll move it onto this screen, a little bit large. I don't like it over there. That's all I have to do. Scroll back. It's completely been moved now. So again, I hope you're getting a feel for this concept of putting things on the home screen, taking them off, and then also moving them as you see fit. Customize it to the way that you want it. Yes, go ahead.
When I put apps on there aren't that many apps.
Okay.
because I have the Nook. And I'm wondering if I could get something like the alarm clock and also Siri.
Siri?
Yeah.
You're not going to get Siri on there. That's an Apple-only feature. You might be able to get Google Now, which is on the Google tablets. We're going to go over that in just a little bit. But to be able to answer exactly whether or not
Yeah. I do have
one of us will take a look at it, maybe in a little bit, but I don't want to take too much time away right now. You may or may not be able to get it, but I know for a fact you might be able to get access to Google Now of anything. Google Now is the Siri alternative for Android tablets. Okay, so we can't get Siri on an Android tablet. So we went over the widgets, how to add and remove those. And again, widgets are not full apps, but they're just small little functionalities that come with apps that we may install. So for example, I think by default, there's a clock widget that's on here. If I wanted to have an analog clock showing on one of my screens over here, I could go ahead and add that for myself, move it around. I used to have this little clock on there. I'm an analog clock guy. So I put that on for myself. So again, you can customize it to your heart's content, and your widget list is going to change as you add and remove apps. If I got rid of this app that I have called One Weather, I'm not going to have access to the widgets that come with it. So they come as a bundle. You have to have the app to be able to use the widget from that app.
Certain applications will have specific widget packs as well. So not all, many will have that bundled in, so keep that in mind.
Yep, and there's all kinds of widgets that you can play with. I mean, we installed some other apps. I can get Score widget to put on for myself. Let's put the Score on here. So that's showing the, I guess I can customize that to show scores for a different league. It's showing as basketball right now, but I'm sure I could adjust that, for myself.
You get those widgets from the Google Store.
You get the apps from the Google Store. The widgets come with the apps.
Usually.
So the widgets are freebies that come with the apps themselves. If I uninstalled the app, the widgets go away, unfortunately. Okay? Some of the other things to keep in mind, here's a good example. Okay, some of the other things in terms of the interface to keep in mind here, there are 2 drop-down areas, at least on most Google tablets. You'll have 2 drop-down areas. On the upper left-hand corner, there is a drop-down that you can use with either your finger or a stylus, that shows you, what do they call this drop down over here? Is this like the recent items? Notifications area?
Yeah.
So, for example, if I got new emails and I had my email account connected to my tablet, new emails would show up in this area. For example, right now I was playing around with the weather, so the weather is showing up within here for me. So it's a dump bucket of the most recent notifications or things that apps are telling me is going on or are coming in for my different accounts. If I had a Skype call I was doing with someone, it would show, my recent Skype call that I had with the person. So a lot of these most recent activities are going to show up here for you. You'll see when we go into the App Store for ourselves, you'll see some listings up here that show all the different apps that are installed on the device. If you have apps that are waiting to be updated, they'll show on this list. So again, you'll see all kinds of different stuff here. What you see up here on the screen right now is going to be completely different from what's going to show on your tablet. It's based upon what kind of apps you have and what's going on with the content you're consuming. If I want to clear that away, there's a little 3-step icon all the way at the top of the screen. I can hit, and that should go ahead and wipe that away for myself. That's clearing away all those notifications that I may have. You got emails that came in you didn't want to see, just clear those notifications out for yourself.
Now keep in mind that these are just notifications. They're not going to clear any messages away from the particular app. They're just there to notify you.
Exactly. It's just like on your phone. You get notifications on your phone that something's come in. You can clear those away. That's the same exact thing that you can do on the tablet. The other area that you can drop down, and this is where you can get into all kinds of fun things like settings, is on the upper right-hand corner. So if I take my finger and I drop that down, you'll get a bunch of different options that show up over here for ourselves. The first tile is going to be our name, or your name it should be. My name is showing as Derrick right now for myself, but it should show your name on there, and you can hop between different accounts on the tablet using that. If I hit that, it would allow me to go back to the home screen and sign in as someone else. So I'm going to go back in. If I bring that back down, I have some quick options I can choose for brightness and settings. I can turn on or off auto rotation. I can go into the Wi-Fi area. Everyone always asks me, how do I get my Wi-Fi connected wherever I'm at? This is how we would go into it. So I can go in there, click on Wi-Fi, and it's showing all the different wireless names, both for all the different networks available right now and then other networks that I've been on in the past. And again, the way to tell which networks are broadcasting locally to me, you just look for the little wireless icon. Either a wireless icon with a lock, which means that there's a password on it, or it has just a wireless icon without any kind of lock on it, which means that there's no password. We're on the library hotspot. It's open. That's the way it should look for us. Okay?
That's only on the Nexus, right?
That should be on most Android tablets. You don't see it on yours? What do you have?
Galaxy.
Galaxy?
Yeah.
Is your settings area might be on the bottom right-hand corner. Do you see it from there? Look for the time. Look for where the time shows.
Top right.
It is on top right, but you can't pull down?
Right. The only thing we pull down is the same thing on the left.
Take a look at that really quick, Ted. But in general, you should be able to pull that down, get into all those different options. From there, airplane mode I can turn on if I'm going on an airplane and they tell you to turn off your radios, go into airplane mode. That's where I would do that from. Bluetooth can be controlled over there as well. If I wanted to get into the full settings list for the tablet, click on settings and you'll see a full list of all the different settings that you have. The top area, they're divided into logical sections. So again, it's very easy to find something, even if you've never been in that area. If I'm looking for some kind of item that's related to sound or volume, I can go under device. And again, it's divided, it's device, and then there's a sound area that I can go into. And all these settings are, just like on a Windows or Mac computer, they are dug into various areas and categories of that nature for myself.
Can you show me that same thing?
If I wanted to go ahead and add an email account on my tablet, a lot of people ask us how to do this all the time. I would go in and I could add under accounts. I could go to add account for myself. And this list is going to change depending on the apps you have installed. As you can see, we have Evernote, Firefox, Link, Office, OneDrive, all these different things installed. And we can now go ahead and add accounts for these different services. If you have a tablet you just bought, you don't have any of those apps installed, you might have a very short list. It'll probably say Google, corporate, and maybe one or two other options, but it'll be very minimal for you. So again, this list is going to be different based upon the apps that you may have.
The easiest thing is the clock.
And likewise, if I wanted to remove an account that I have on my tablet that I didn't want any on there anymore, maybe it was an old email account, for example, I would find that account listed over here based upon the type of account it is, and I could go in and I could get rid of it and sign off and get rid of the account here just by going ahead and going into the sync area here, and I can get rid of it for myself. Okay? So any account can be added or removed through the accounts area on the tablet. And then on the bottom of the settings area, there are some more options and settings we can get into. If you want to update your tablet, you can go into About Tablet, go to System Updates, and that is where you can check for updates for your device. And this screen may look a little different depending on the manufacturer, the make and model of your tablet, but there should be a way in here to check for updates for that tablet. And I can see here I'm on 4.4.4 of Android, which is the latest version. Okay. There are some other things in here I'm not going to dig into as we don't have enough time. You can do some printing settings in here to connect to printers, change your location settings, some other security settings. But again, you can play around with some of these things. They may be different depending on the tablet that you have. I'm just telling you, go in there, play around a little bit, take a look at what's available. You might find a setting or a control for something that you've been curious about in the past. Okay? The next thing I wanted to show off is probably one of the coolest features on the Android tablets, and this is the feature called the Google Search, is what it's officially called, but Google Now is the service that runs this, and this is the voice search service. If you've seen the Siri commercials or the Cortana commercials on TV, this is the Google version of that. And actually, if you take your cheat sheet that we made for you, this is so neat that we decided to dedicate a whole side of the cheat sheet to it. This was a little graphic that a website released of all kinds of different commands that you could search for. Again, the text is not the largest. I apologize because we wanted to include all kinds of different categories for things you could search for. But we came up with a list of some things, some of our favorites that we like to do. So let me show you how to first get into it, and then I'll show you how this works. So I could go ahead and, I don't know, Ted, you tell me how you get into it most of the time, but I go ahead, I just click on the little microphone icon in the little Google search bar at the top. Is that how you usually get into it, or do you do it different?
There's actually two ways. If you hold the home button,
If I hold the home button, okay.
you can then swipe up and then release.
And that should go into Google Now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's one way to do it.
Number two is you could just say, "Okay, Google."
Okay, Google.
My phone did it. You might need to enable that setting.
Oh, Google? Oh. Hold on here.
You're making my phone do it.
All right, let's be careful here. Okay, so simplest way for me to go into it right now is I'm going to hit the little microphone button in the Google search bar at the top of the screen here. And of course it goes into waiting for me to say something. Okay, no one say anything right now. I'm going to try. So this is where we can go ahead. By default, it thinks that you're going to start a search right away when you go into it. So that's why it's doing and doing a goofy search right away. Let's simulate what would happen if I did a search now. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to click on the little microphone button at the top here, and let's try this one. Who did the Bears play next?
The Bears are playing the Bills on September 7th at 12 p.m.
How's that? Pretty neat, huh? And there are so many different commands here. Again, what we put on that list on the back of that page, that's just some of the stuff. That's not the complete list of things you can do. Let's try this one here. What's the tip for $43?
A 15% tip would be $6.45.
So there you go. If you think you're geeky enough to take the tablet with you to the restaurant, you can calculate your tip with this.
Do a barrel.
Did the Cubs win today?
No, the Cubs lost to the Reds 7-2.
Expected.
Go figure. That's our Cubs. But there's all kinds of different things you can do here. I mean, all kinds of different commands. And we were trying this one a little bit earlier. What actors starred in Jurassic Park?
According to Wikipedia, Sam Neill is Dr. Alan Grant, a leading paleontologist, Laura Dern is Dr. Ellie Sadler, a paleobotanist, Jeff Goldblum as Dr. Ian Malcolm, a mathematician and chaos theorist, Richard Attenborough as John.
You get the picture. But this is definitely one of my favorite features on the Google tablets using this service. I've seen people talk about the Siri service, but I personally think that Google now is probably the most refined and most accurate of them out there. I'm going to try one more here. What's the forecast for tomorrow?
Tomorrow's forecast for Park Ridge is 82 degrees with a chance of storm.
So there we go. Pretty neat. Anything anyone wants me to try?
Yeah. Can you
What?
do email?
We'll find it.
Can you do a dictated email?
Dictate an email. I think did we put that?
Yep.
All right, let's try this. This is a little bit of a longer one. Let me see if I can get this one right.
Who's going to win the World Series?
Let me restart that because we had the audio, us talking there really quick. Let me try the email one really quickly. See how if this one works okay. Send email to Ted Tabaka, subject, Android training, message, I don't think we have enough content, we need to reschedule the class.
Oh, you gotta hit yes, I'm in. You might need to do that one more time.
Do one more time.
Yeah.
Send email to Ted Tabaka, subject, Android training, message, I don't think we have enough content for the class. There we go.
Want to send this?
No.
Cancelled.
So pretty neat if you really want to get fancy with the voice recognition. And again, I didn't even train this tablet. My girlfriend uses this tablet more than I do, so it's not even trained to my voice, and it was picking me up pretty well here. As you can see, we could fully dictate an email here, and I think it did a pretty good job. Didn't have any spelling mistakes or get any wrong words, so I think that robot is pretty darn smart with that.
I would say Google now has better voice recognition, but Siri does have a little bit better command control, but that's changing. Google now is always updating. It updates through the Play Store, so just because you don't have the latest operating system for Android does not necessarily mean you're not going to be able to get Google now. Why don't you do one of the Easter eggs? Or do who's on first?
Who's on first?
And what's on second?
Do a barrel roll.
Do a barrel roll. Oh, it didn't do it for some reason. There's a lot of neat Easter eggs and things that you could do on this. Let's try this one. Make me a sandwich.
What make it yourself?
Sass and attitude.
See, sometimes it works. Sometimes it it just depends. But there's all kinds of different ones that you could search for. On there for yourself. And again, the list that we provided here for you is not a concise list. There's always things that I'm thinking of to try searching for. Oh, here's something I do quite often. Convert 20 pounds into ounces.
£3 is 320 ounces.
So conversions. I have a lot of things I need to convert, for myself. I tend to use this for conversions quite a bit for myself. You can even do this for directions. Map directions to Sears Tower.
Getting directions to Willis Tower.
And I can go ahead and I can launch right into Google Maps for myself, and I should have a path for how to get to the Sears Tower right there. And I got traffic, and it tells me exactly how long it's going to take me to get there now.
They changed it to Willis
Yeah, they changed it to Willis, but it still knew what I was talking about, so pretty nifty. So there you go.
Does that have a GPS capability in the tablet?
This tablet does, yes.
This tablet does have one. You know, the one of the things you want to keep in mind, though, just because it does have GPS, and Ted, tell me if I'm wrong. If you're not on Wi-Fi or you don't have a data connection to it, just because you have GPS doesn't mean you're going to be able to map that well, because if you zoom in on the map or you're going to be downloading new content from the map as you're going along to that place, it may not work entirely well. But again, that's just for tablets, because tablets don't usually have a dedicated data connection. Your phone, though, if you have an Android phone, that of course is going to work all the way from start to finish.
You might be able to cache the map and then just keep it that way. There is a way to do it. There's a few steps involved, but yes, it's possible. Usually, the easiest thing I might recommend is if your phone has internet, you can browse it. You can tether your phone to your tablet, and then your tablet could act as a kind of a nav unit as well.
Yeah, very true.
You're getting all this information through Google. Just Google.
Yep. Well, the service itself. So the service is not only recognizing what we're saying, it's running a search, but it's also contextualizing that search for us into a manner that's very usable, very easy to access for us. That's what's going on.
Is it the G plus? Yeah.
What I was doing right now?
Right.
No, that's a built-in function. Again, what I'm showing, it's the little microphone icon at the top of the screen there. But the functionality is, what is it called, Ted? Is it just called Google Search?
It's a Google search. You
It's
just
Google Search.
You can download it as an app through the Play Store.
Yeah,
and
so
update
she
it.
might have access. Maybe we'll take a look at her tablet in a little
Yeah,
bit.
we can
We'll
take a
see
look.
if she has that. But as far as I know, most Android tablets now should have this functionality on there.
You can
So-
you can easily create calendar invites. Like you can set up reminders. I really love the functionality of making a note. You can tell Android make a note. I have a little task list that goes through, so it immediately makes a note. I don't have to type anything out. It's really just smooth and easy. If I'm okay with a voice and talking to my tablet, then it's very easy to just set up and go.
Yeah, and the issues with years ago, I had a lot of customers that like to use the Dragon software on the computer. This seems to have better recognition than even that Dragon software. So a lot of those problems with dictation and not catching you properly, I don't know. I think that's a thing of the past. It's pretty darn accurate for what I've even trying here today.
And
so.
even what is it? Google Now, or I should say Google Voice Search, is supported on Google Chrome through your desktop. So if you have a microphone there, you can set it up and use it. Not all the features are working, but I know that you can at least do voice searches through it.
Let me try one more. I'm going to try restaurant related one.
Can you explain what
Show all restaurants in Park Ridge.
Addresses for restaurants near Park Ridge.
There we go.
I'm sorry, you were saying?
Can you explain the difference between Google Chrome, Google Plus, Google?
Google, yeah.
Google Chrome is the internet browser. Google, what are the other ones? Google Plus is kind of like Facebook for Google. It's their social media. And then there's, what was the last one?
Google.
Just Google in general?
Plain Google, but you could add that there's the Drive, which is, I understand these, you can find these inside the mother Google.
Yes.
The mother
A
Google.
lot.
Right.
Google being a company, their primary, how they make money, how they deal with things is search. If they can better optimize their search, that they're going to focus on that. And they better optimize their search through these applications, through navigation, through Google Now. And so a lot of their focus is on search and making search better. And what is it? Social media is one thing that they're trying to kind of get into, which is Google Plus. So they're kind of tying this all together to make your life searchable. It's kind of scary, but that's sort of what they're kind of going with.
Do you have to have an internet, a Wi-Fi connection though to use all of this, right?
Yes. You will need either a data connection of some sort, either a wireless connection or through your carrier, either be it T-Mobile, Verizon, and that tablet has to support it. If you go to your carrier's store, like T-Mobile, I know they have Nexus devices there that you can look, and they should support data plans that you can get. So you can then have your tablet be anywhere while still getting service and still getting the search.
Yeah, and those are nice. It's nice to have that connection no matter where you are. Just realize you're going to be paying, another $15, $20 just to have that data line hitting that tablet wherever you go. Do you need it? It's up to you. It's really up to you. So just keep that in mind before you go out hunting for one of these tablets with a data feed, no matter where you are.
Can you plug your phone into the tablet and use the phone as your Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi, yes. You can't directly plug it in. Can you go to settings for me?
Sure.
I could show you. Go to settings. Go to more. I actually wanted to show this. Oh wait, it's weird. Go back. That's strange. Here. Let me plug my phone in.
You want to show the sharing?
Yeah, the tethering aspect. If your phone has data, and you don't want to buy data, and you have your tablet, and you prefer using your tablet, you can just sync your phone to your tablet, and that's really easy to do. I've not done it here. Bear in mind, certain carriers, if you want a tethering plan, that's extra. Sometimes certain companies are okay with it, and I have T-Mobile, they're okay with me tethering. I'm more grandfathered into their old program though. So in this case, I should be able to go to, NFC and more. So what I did, let me just go back. I scrolled into my little cog area. I went to NFC and more. At least this is for Android L. There should be a more option.
Should be very similar.
versions. Mm-hmm. There's a tethering and portable hotspot is what you're looking for.
That's on your phone you're using.
Yes, my tablet has that feature as well. I got the LTE version for the Nexus 7 from T-Mobile, so it has that option. As long as your phone has it. I'm sorry?
You tether from an iPhone to Android.
If your iPhone supports tethering, yes. I think if you have the latest operating system, it should be default, I believe. I would have to take a look. I believe they did have that functionality. Again, your carrier has to support you allowing to tether. There's two options to tethering. There's either USB, which you can connect your phone to, say, a computer. You cannot connect it to the tablet. And then there's also wireless tethering. So, for example, I would set up wireless, and then there's my access point. I can rename that to whatever I want. I can save it. I can set up a password, which I recommend changing. And then all I would really need to do is disable portable Wi-Fi hotspot. And what this is going to do is it's going to disable wireless on the phone, but since it already has a data connection using the phone's carrier internet, it's going to use that. And it's going to basically push this wireless signal out to be accessible. And actually, all of you should probably even see that pop up as a wireless access point. And then from my phone, my tablet, excuse me, I can then go to my tablet and it'll be popped up. Come on. Right there. And then I can basically connect to this, and then every time my tablet's in range, I can just connect to it. This is just using one service, and it works fine. But a lot of people are like, I don't want to go through that hassle. But if it saves you a few bucks, you're willing to do it, more the merrier.
Yeah.
Well, like if you were using you need to use it for GPS and you know how to do it if you're in the car.
They do offer, I know there's third-party carriers that offer offline maps. Offhand, I don't remember who. I think TomTom I know has a software. There's a few others out there that you can get offline maps as an option.
Yeah, and that would overcome that. So again, that's how to tether, and we can give you more information after class if you want to learn more about that. All right, so let's go ahead into the App Store. We're at about 8:15 right now. I still want to make sure that we get into apps and purchasing apps and downloading apps and all that fun stuff. So most tablets in the room here should have an icon that's called the Google Play Store. and that looks like the little shopping bag on the bottom right-hand corner that has a little icon, a little right-facing arrow with the goofy colors on it. But that's Google Play. Likewise, if you don't see it on your home screen, go into your All Apps area and just go over to P for Play Store. When I go into Play Store, this is where I can find all the neat, cool stuff that Android has available and out on the market for us. So this is the marketplace where I can get apps for myself. And again, by default, if I don't want to search for anything, I can just browse. By default, they're going to show all the popular stuff and all the things that other people are downloading and media and books. And I mean, you can get almost anything, games and music and movies and all kinds of stuff from the Google Play Store these days. So it's not just limited to apps in terms of things to play around with. I mean, there's all kinds of different stuff that you can get from here. So if I wanted to browse, I can go ahead and browse. I can go deeper into any of these little subsections by hitting the More button on the right-hand side. But the way most people are going to use the App Store, unless you're just browsing new stuff and you don't know what you want to find, most people are out there doing searches for themselves. And searching is as simple as hitting the little search icon in the upper right-hand corner and searching for what you want to find. So throw out a name for an app. Is there something that someone's curious to have me show on the screen and install here? What's that?
Siri.
Siri? I'm not going to find Siri. That's an Apple-only thing. Go ahead.
First note or whatever.
The note-taking?
Yes.
Well, I have that installed already, but I'll go ahead and show it anyway over here. I can still search for it. So again, I'm searching with my little stylus as I find it a little bit easier for myself. It'll start hunting and finding names that are similar to what I'm searching for, and of course the most relevant option will show towards the top. So once even if I don't have all of OneNote typed out, as you can see, it knows what I'm looking for, most likely, and I can just tap on that and I can find that app for myself. And Google's really changed this. This is really now, a little different to how it used to look, but it's got this big graphic that shows now towards the top of the screen. Here are just a few things that you should be aware of when searching for any app or looking at these apps over here. Again, I can go into the app, I can see who makes it. Microsoft makes OneNote. I can see how many people have downloaded it already. What kind of an overall score. This is probably the most important. This overall score over here. A 4.0. That means the app is probably fairly reputable. Again, we want to be careful, and just because there's an app for something that you may be interested in installing, watch out and see what other people are saying about that, because that could let you in on whether the fact that the app has issues, or if it's got too much advertising, or if it's just not a good app. Again, this is a reputation-based system. You need to be mindful of what other people are saying about these apps. I personally won't install any app that has less than 3 stars. And that's just me. You have to have your own threshold. But again, just like when we look at book reviews and movie reviews, there are app reviews, and we should be mindful of them before we install, because they'll let you in on whether or not that app is worth looking at.
And also bear in mind, obviously you have to be logged into a Google account for you to even see this screen. So if you have multiple Google accounts, also keep in mind that if you buy an app through the Google Play Store, that the app you bought will be associated with whatever app you registered for the Google Play Store. So keep that in mind. So you may end up having to buy multiple apps.
Correct. And I can go through, I can look at screenshots of the app. This is also nice. I like doing this because if you haven't used an app, you don't know what it looks like at first. So it's good to look through some of the screenshots they provide so you can see how that app is going to look, so you can at least get an idea of what that app has to offer. So again, some of that window shopping that we like to do when we go to the store. Same way in the Google Play Store, I can look at the reviews that show up over here, and again, I can then see apps that are related that I might be interested in based upon this search that I made for myself. If it's an app I didn't have installed, this little button that says open would say install actually. Now it says open or uninstall because I have the app already. I'm not putting it on for the first time. But let's find something that I haven't installed yet so I can make this relevant for everyone here. Let's go search for news. There's a lot of stuff under news. You don't have to search the exact app name. You can search categories or genres. If I search for news, you'll see that there are all kinds of news apps that are going to come up. And of course, the apps that are on the upper left-hand corner are not only the most relevant, but also the most popular and also the highest rated. So again, it starts off, gives you the best apps on the marketplace first, and it goes down, in quality, continuing forward from there. So, for example, let's see CNN. Do I have CNN? I don't have CNN because it's asking me to install it. So I can go ahead, look and see what it is, click on install. It's going to tell me before I install it what different things this app may want to do. And again, this is a good thing to know so that you're aware of this. Now again, most of the time I really don't even bother with this. I know that there couldn't be anything that bad that may happen, but again, some of us are a little more privacy conscious, security conscious, and you might be curious about what this phone might have access to do. So it tells you the full list of items. This app will go ahead and tie into my identity, my account profile on the tablet. It will go ahead and try to find location. It may have some kind of tie-in to phone. It may have tie-ins to the camera or microphone. So this app is requiring a little more access into my tablet than some other apps. And again, Google forces every app to make you aware of that before you install it, so there's no, buyer's remorse, or you weren't told that that was going to potentially do that.
Another thing to note is, if can you try doing a search for Quad Launcher actually for me? I know you don't have it installed, but I want you to.
Oh, sure. Let's go in, do a search. Quad Launcher?
Drawer.
Oh, Quad Drawer. And I'm searching for other apps right now while the other one's installing. Look at my drop-down of notifications. CNN's installing while I'm still doing whatever I want to do in the Google Play Store. So we can multitask. We don't have to wait for CNN to finish before we start doing something else. So that's one of the other nice things about Android tablets. So Ted, go ahead.
If you can click on Quad Drawer for me.
Okay.
Now, one thing to keep a note of, you obviously see the $signs. This is a paid application. You have to pay 99 cents for it. Google, before, I'll be lucky, a couple months ago, you had to they only allowed 15-minute returns. I believe just recently they changed it to allow 2-hour returns. So if you don't like your app and you're trying it for a couple, you have 2 hours to say, I want a refund. So for example, I would have to do it on here.
That's fine. So we can just explain it.
It's fine. Okay. What would happen is if you buy the app, you didn't like it, you can then, there's an uninstall button that'll pop up. If you tell it to uninstall, then that will refund your money. If you keep it installed for longer than 2 hours, then the purchase will go through and you're stuck with the app. And if you wanted a refund, say, I don't want to spend 99 cents. Then you have to open a ticket with Google and then send a request, and then many cases you have to actually talk to the developer of the app to then get the refund, and then just the long.
So that's good. So it's very simple to return stuff now. I didn't even know about that. So that's good to know. So return policy across the board for anything you may buy. So
How do they get your money?
that's another thing to keep in mind. Usually, Google will request a credit card associated with it. When you go, there is an area. Google Wallet has a. They're moving everything to Google Wallet, and that's their service for making transactions. You would add the credit card there, and then the credit card would be saved, and you have access to it. Mind you, they do have gift cards and stuff that you can put as Google Play credit, and then you can just use that credit rather than use your credit card as well.
yeah, even in the stores, I've seen at the grocery store, there are Google Play gift cards out there, just like for the iTunes store, you can get gift cards and just do it that way if you prefer to purchase through gift cards. So it's really up to you. Most people, though, it's so convenient to just put your credit card on there and just do it that way. But again, the choice is yours for what you want to do there. Okay.
I wish I had more time. I'd kind of show Google Wallet in general. You can actually use your phone to make purchases at a Walgreens. I've done that a couple times. It's kind of neat. You don't need a credit card. Your credit card's on your phone, and it's secure enough that you can just scan it, and the transaction is less than instant.
Yeah.
It's even faster than taking out your credit card.
So we showed everyone how to go ahead and look for apps, see the reliability and what other people are saying about the apps. I showed you how to install them for yourself. We showed how to uninstall them a little bit earlier, so I'm not going to go into that again. Let's go into now some of the apps that we find to work very well for us for a lot of different categories and genres here. So let's go through. Some of them we'll go through a little bit faster, but some we'll spend just a little bit more time on. Let's go through some of these here. For internet browsing, Two of the apps that we like to use the most are Google Chrome, which obviously if you're on a Google tablet, of course that's going to be a very good experience for you. Google Chrome is an internet browser just like on your computer, where you can go ahead and browse for things, browse the web and go places on the web, the same way we do that on our tablet. So again, I like using the stylus. It makes it very easy for me to type on the screen here, and I can go ahead and I can browse the web. And what you see on here should be fairly similar to what you see, on a regular computer. It might be a little bit slower if the tablet's a little bit slower, but for the most part, I should be able to do everything I can do on a computer, watch videos, things of that nature. Likewise, if you're a Firefox person and you prefer that, I have Firefox on here. You can find that in the Google Play Store. And Firefox is just another way to browse the web on one of these tablets, but it works exactly, exactly the same way. So I can.
Hey Derek, can I ask
Yes,
you one?
go ahead.
On Google Chrome, when I press it, I get Samsung.com as the default.
So that's probably the
website.
home page. That's probably the
Yeah.
home page that's set on
Can
there.
you actually change that?
Oh, it can be changed. Yeah, of course.
What do you do?
It depends on which browser you're using. If you're using, are you using Google Chrome?
Yeah.
It is Google Chrome. So if we go into Google Chrome, it should be under the little settings area, the little settings option, upper right hand corner. If you watch the screen where the mouse hits, where I hit my stylus, right over here, upper right hand corner.
The 3 dots.
3 dots. There's a settings area here, and I presume it should be right over here under
Yeah.
advanced. In terms of exactly where it would be, it's got to be one of these 2 areas. But this is where it's got to be in one of these screens over here. So go into the settings area, and within other basics or advanced, or it may look a little different for you, the option for a home page should be within here. I can't imagine it being anywhere else on the tablet. Okay, so that's how we can do internet browsing and browse websites, and use this as a sort of a laptop for ourselves in that regard. Another app that I personally like a lot of people really like this when I show this off on here, but it's called Flipboard. It's a completely free app that you can use if you are someone that likes to read the newspaper or like magazines like Time magazine. I'm a news junkie, so I love those kind of periodicals. Flipboard is pretty much the digital version of something like that. I go into Flipboard, and it is pretty much like a digital newspaper for me. So I can flip over from the cover page, I can go into the news section for myself, and again, you can sign in and you can customize it for yourself, but this is like a personal newspaper that gets customized to the content that you like, and it works just like a newspaper because I can flip back and forth between the pages. I love this app. It's got all kinds of great content. They pull from all the best sources, the news sources, AP, Reuters, all those other places like that. And I can just go through here and browse this just like a regular newspaper or a magazine. So it's pretty neat. I would say try it out. If you're a news junkie like I am, you're really going to like Flipboard quite a lot. Completely free, doesn't cost a thing. I would say definitely give it a try.
Do specific magazines or journals charge you to pay for?
I don't believe so. I believe if it pulls into Flipboard, I don't believe they're going to charge you for accessing it. I don't think so. Don't hold me to it. I'm not an expert, but I believe that's the case. So of course there's going to be some advertising, but as you can see, I go into the article and I could just keep flipping through. So
Is the news local or?
you can get local news. I mean, by default, it's going to be just generic national news. But if I go in and make an account and customize it and say I want local news for Park Ridge or Niles or Des Plaines, yeah, it'll definitely go ahead and customize it for you. So it's very nice. I like it.
And you could just download it through
Google Play Store, yep. It's just another app. Every app that I'm showing here can be downloaded right from that Google Play Store I was showing you.
That's Google Plus.
That's the Google Play all the way in the bottom right-hand corner. It looks like a little shopping bag.
Oh.
If you have that on your tablet, all the things I'm showing here today, you can get through that Google Play Store icon for yourself, okay? Let's keep going here. I showed off Flipboard. That's like a digital magazine app. OneWeather, this is one of Ted's apps that he recommended. If we go into that, it's actually a very neat way to show off the weather forecast. The default app's a little bit bland, some people say. This actually adds some color and features and functionality to it. I can go ahead and I can slide across to see the full forecast in a nice visual format here for myself. And I can go through on the right-hand side and I can change some of the different things, go into a detailed forecast if I wanted to for myself, extended forecast. So if you like the details on what the weather is going to be like, this is definitely the the app for you.
And actually on the right side, if you can go to the little pinpoint.
This one?
Yep. It'll actually show you the clouds.
Yep, there you go.
Where the rain is.
You could beat Tom Skilling to the weather map.
What is that called?
This app is called One Weather.
Number one.
It's on I put the names of all the apps we're showing off on the back of the agenda sheet, so you don't have to write them down yourself. We listed them all out in type format for you. So I can switch between this. I can switch between my what do you call these? Phases of the moon, I guess, is what they call it. But all kinds of neat stuff. And One Weather comes with some of those neat widgets that we were showing off earlier. The forecast I could put on my home screen for myself. One Weather bundles those widgets with it. So very neat app. Ted, thanks for that recommendation.
Also bear in mind though, there's also many free apps, or apps may include certain advertisements. Sadly, there's no way around that unless they offer a paid solution to get rid of the ads. So keep that in mind.
If you like sports scores, The Score is something you should definitely take a look at. Another free app. Probably one of the best, I think. Ted recommended this one. I think it's also probably one of the best for sports scores. Where's The Score? The Score. Where?
Lower left-hand corner.
Oh, there it is. Here's The Score. If you're a sports junkie and you like watching the stats for games going on at any given time, this is like your own personal ESPN, and you can get access to any of the information going on. Let's see what's going on in MLB right now. Games going on right now. I can go into a live game. My White Sox are playing. I can take a look and see what's going on, all the details here, pitch by pitch, what's happening. So, some of those stats and things that you get on the TV screen once in a while, this is at your fingertips. So I really like The Score. I think it's a great one. I'm a hockey guy, so I'm usually watching the hockey season when that comes up. But again, every single league is in here, and the list is huge. I mean, they even have sports that you don't see on the TV that you can find out about on here. You can customize it. You can put your top teams in, so you can watch, just the teams that you're interested in. It's got sports news on here as well. So again, a very good app. It's completely free. The advertising, I don't even think it is even that obtrusive on here. So it's a very good app. The app developers did a really good job with this one. I really like it. Okay? So that's called The Score. You can find that in Google Play. Let's show them Google Hangouts, Ted. If you want to do video chat with someone, Skype is of course an option. It is multi-platform. It's a pretty nice application. But if you have a Google tablet and someone else with a Google phone, or someone that's using Google Chrome browser on the web on their computer, there's an option now called Google Hangouts that you can use. It's Google's alternative. And Ted, I guess let me go ahead. I'll launch the Hangout. I think this comes by default on tablets now. I don't think you have to even go out and install it. So there is an item called Hangouts.
Your tablet will have to support a front-facing camera for it to work.
Yep. So if I go in here, I can go ahead. I can find Ted. I'm not going to go through the whole process here, but I found Ted as a friend. I can go and click on the little video cam icon in the upper right-hand corner. There I am. Come on, Ted, pick up. Disable your mic. Not the best demo for being in the same room, but you can catch our drift over here. So again, very neat. You can go ahead and do a video chat or just a voice chat with someone through this, and I can even switch between my camera on the front of my tablet and the back. So it's pretty darn powerful. I really like this app. Again, it's a little bit dark since we got the lights dimmed over here, but you can catch our drift. Huh?
That is Skype?
This is Google's version of Skype.
What's it called?
This is called Hangouts. It should be installed by default on your Android device if you have a relatively recent device. So this works pretty well. You can do this between, again, other Android tablet users. You can do this between phones and tablets, or Chrome on the computer user to an Android tablet. Again, any one of those devices or browsers in the ecosystem, you can talk with others using this. And I think even now you can do video chat with up to 10 people, right? 10 or 15 people, I think?
Yes, I think
So you can get the whole family in on a Hangout at the same time and chat with them. I believe Skype maxes out at 10, Hangouts maxes out at 15. So they actually have a leg up on Skype in that regard. So, pretty neat.
Do you have to have an internet connection for that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that has to have internet. You will not do that without internet.
It should work fine on a cell tower data connection. So I've tried that a few times and it worked well.
It'll
Yeah.
only work with another Android that has that app.
Again, this
Tablet, phone, or someone that's using Google Chrome browser on their computer, Mac or
It
Windows.
won't work with an Apple phone.
If they install, do they have Chrome on Apple devices? I think they do.
They have Chrome, but I don't know for sure if they have the Hangouts plugin. Offhand, I don't remember.
May or may not. I think it will, but you'll have to give it a try. I think it will be possible though. Okay. Here's another one that Ted told me about. I didn't even know about this. If you like listening to the radio, but you don't get good signal in your building, for example, people that work in offices that can't get good radio signal, you need to check out this app called TuneIn Radio. I'm going to open this up here. You can get any radio station in any city, it seems, and listen to it right on your tablet, for example. So let's go into TuneIn Radio here. I was just in this earlier. I was listening to a classic rock station here in town. Yeah, again, you don't see the home screen for the app as I was browsing into it, but if you're off the home screen, you can go ahead and do a browse on the left-hand side, and I can go into local radio at the top here, and it's showing me all the stations here in the Chicago area. So, for example, let's turn on 97.1 Classic Rock. I can click on the station with the little play button there.
Look out in the street there. You know what you don't see? My car. Because I had to sell it to pay
It
the
sometimes
lawyer I
plays
hired when I got
advertisements
busted for
before the
drunk
beat
driving.
starts playing.
Know what else you don't see? My girlfriend, who decided that a guy with no car and no license and no money was no fun.
Connect to the actual
Cops are out
radio
there
station
cracking
that's
down
playing
on drunk
on the radio
driving
right
all
now.
across the
So
country,
you don't even
and
need
they'll
the
see
radio
you
anymore to
before
listen to the
you
radio
see them.
stations, which I think
Drive
is
sober
pretty neat.
or get pulled over. Paid for by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
But again, you can't unless you're on Wi-Fi, right?
You have almost everything I'm showing here, you have to have a data connection or Wi-Fi. I mean, the Android tablet's not going to be of much help if you don't have one of the two.
Does the sound use more battery or the visuals use more battery?
I think the sound would probably.
Well, visuals would use more.
Yeah.
If you have like a movie playing, it's going to use a lot more. When it comes to, I don't think it's going to use that much when it comes to playing audio as much. It's mostly the screen turning on and off. More moving objects. If the backlight's being displayed or the tablet's turned on, then yes, it's going to use more power.
There's another station that's on the radio. 100.3 is a station I like listening to from time to time, so it's got that. Yeah, it's got AM as well. I was actually on an AM station just earlier.
Bear in mind, this is connected to the internet, so it's not like if you have an FM AM transmitter in your car that you like to connect to kind of like hear. I know, like if you try to connect your phone directly into it, it will work, but you can't like. There's no FM audio receiver on the device itself, so you can't like connect anything manually like those old classic cassette radios that you can kind of hook in and kind of wirelessly feed your phone in between. You know what I'm talking about? So you can't do that. This is all through the internet. There's no extra connections to that.
Yeah, but I mean, they have AM stations. As far as I can tell, it's a pretty complete
94
list.
Quad City, 6971 at Chicago's lakefront. Next news at 9 or when news breaks and at WGNradio.com.
And a
I'm
lot
Rob
of places
Martier on
can't get
Chicago's
the
very
radio
own
signals.
720 WGN.
Perfect
And welcome back.
Pete McMurray.
For having a full radio, so I'm pretty impressed. I just learned about this app very recently, and I'm stoked. I want to start using it
Get
for
world
myself.
broadcasts too.
World?
Anywhere in the world.
I'm pretty certain it looks like it's got most stations.
Yes.
I can't say all of them, but I would try it out and test it out for yourself.
I like Celtic music.
Okay.
It's not Ireland. It's Radio Krakow in Poland that has
Oh, interesting. Well,
He was Derek was actually listening to a Polish radio.
yeah, I had a Polish
earlier.
station from Chicago that was turned on, so they got a lot of the niche stations on there as well. Check it out. I think you'll be pretty impressed with it. Completely free. Pandora, most people have heard about Pandora. They have it for Android, of course. It is a music program. If you don't want to keep a collection of music, you can use this as something to curate a radio stations for yourself. Let's see if we have it signed in here. It may or may not be signed in. I use Pandora a lot. When I'm not listening to the radio, I'm listening to Pandora. My girlfriend's Pandora. She's got a little police station for us on here. But Pandora's pretty neat. If you've never used Pandora, you make new stations for yourself based upon the kind of music you like to listen to.
Just a small town girl living in a lonely world.
I make new stations. And I can go ahead and curate that. Do I like it or not? I thumb it up, I thumb it down, and it'll make a station that's based upon the kind of things I like. You know, if you're a Barry White kind of person, you can get your Barry White radio going. So, it's very neat. Pandora is a neat app, completely free. They have a paid version, as we mentioned, if you want to pay, not get ads, and you can skip more songs if you prefer. But again, it's very neat. I've been using Pandora for many years. It's probably one of the best music apps out there right now. Okay? So that's Pandora. YouTube that's on here, I'm not going to go into YouTube. Everyone knows what YouTube is. It's the same thing as what you get on the internet browser, except there's a dedicated app where you can just easily browse through different videos for yourself and play them. Netflix, again, I was talking about how you can connect this to your TV and watch Netflix. A lot of people are getting these tablets. You get the Netflix installed on here for like, what is it, $8 a month now? $7 a month?
Yeah.
And you can watch unlimited movies on your TV without having to go to the rental store or even Redbox. Netflix is very nice. If you've used the DVD version where they send you discs, this is even better. The selection's a little bit different sometimes, but again, the convenience of having a million different movies or hundreds of thousands of different movies and TV shows at your fingertips. So that's Netflix.
There's an app, the name escapes me, it's not YouTube, but it's like Quick Draw or something that is a video app that isn't recognized by the Android system. It's a common name.
QuickTime?
Yeah, QuickTime.
You can play those movie files, but typically, you would require a third-party app usually that supports the QuickTime format, the dot moves and everything. So you can get it to work. There's a few third-party.
Can we answer that after class?
Yeah.
So we can keep going here. Not going to go into all the apps left on the list here. I'm going to point out some of the other most important or ones I think that everyone should take a look at. Yes.
Sorry, just let you know we're closing in 15 minutes.
Okay.
So register comes out.
Okay. All right. So just a few more apps. I'm very sorry we took a little bit more time with some of the other items, but just maybe one or two other apps that I think you should take a look at. All the ones on the list I think are things you should check out if you're interested in some of those. One I will bring up over here is the OneNote program for note-taking. That is completely free from Microsoft. I brought it up a little bit earlier from the store. This is like a digital notebook for yourself. It used to be just on the Windows computer side. Now it's out for every single device. And you can go ahead. I'm signed into my account right now. I can make a note over here on this device for myself. Here, I had a note over here for a frame. I had to pick up dimensions. I forgot what this was for. But if I make a note on here, I can synchronize and get it on my computer as well for myself. And I can even hand draw notes for myself. So again, my screen is not meant for delicate note-taking, but if you had like a Galaxy Tab device, you really could use a nice stylus pen, and you could use this like a digital notebook for yourself. So again, I think this is pretty neat. This is completely free. And again, this synchronizes between devices, so you could use this on Android, your phone, your computer, on the web. The sky's the limit with this. But it's called OneNote. I like it a lot. Ted likes the alternative called Evernote. He uses that quite a bit himself. A lot of people have heard of that. But one of the two, one of those should suit your needs fairly well. I'm not going to go into the games. Last one I'll mention is security. Again, Android has a little bit of a malware problem now, like the Windows computers used to in the mid-2000s. So you have to be mindful of putting some kind of security program on your tablet. We like to recommend the ESET program. I've got it installed on here, and it scans every app before it gets fully installed. I'd recommend putting something on. If you don't want to put ESET on, get something on your tablet because you don't want to be a victim of malware. It's a growing problem. A lot of people just don't think about it these days.
ESET has a free option. You can just download and install, and they have I believe yearly. I believe it's $10 a year. It's worth getting. It'll scan any incoming apps, so you really don't have to worry about having your device be infected or have your device be slow because it'll do the scans for you.
It's called ESET?
ESET.
Yeah, I think it's called ESET Mobile Security. We put the exact name on the, ESET Mobile Security. And that's in the Google Play Store.
You could just check the back of the sheet here. It has it on there. And then one last one I wanted to actually explain a little bit, which comes in handy. Let me just get this plugged in here. This is Device Manager. It's an application you can actually install onto your phone or tablet for Android. Now you can also access this through the Google, if you go to do a Google search, you can actually go to Device Manager through your web browser on your computer, and the same thing will pop up. The great thing about this device is if ESET offers the a find feature as well for the premium version, but if you don't want to pay for that, and you want to actually find your phone or lock your phone, you can do that easily with this app. So right now I have my tablet here. If you lose your device, you don't know where it is, or if it's stolen even, you can locate it easily. Most phones, tablets have GPS, so you can just find it. For now, I'm just going to actually tell my Google Nexus 5 here to ring, because I don't know where I put it. And this will ring for about 5 minutes. So I can find my phone. Now, if I know I lost it, I can then lock the phone. Let me get out of there. And I can actually set a password on the device, so the person can't be able to get into it again.
This is very useful for families that have teens that are getting the cell phones, or young kids are getting cell phones these days as well. But again, they're very, tend to lose things very easily. This is an easy way to give them the phone, but still know that if they lose it, they can block it or wipe that phone remotely so that no one can get their hands on it, get the pictures the kid may have on there. Whatever kind of device you may have, you're worried about losing. This is a nice free way to go ahead and make sure that you can get that back, or at least lock it down so no one can get at your dad on the phone or the device.
And I can select between all the devices that I have associated with that account. So this is one free app that Google provides, and it's one thing I totally recommend downloading. And so that way, if you ever do lose it, you can at least wipe it. If it's not already installed on your device, I recommend installing it and then using it if you need it. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Yep. All right. Hopefully they don't boot us out of here. Okay, all right. I guess we have time for just a question or two. Otherwise, we're going to start packing up, and you can ask us some questions as we're, putting everything away and all that. Any big questions that someone wanted to ask about anything? Go ahead.
I got Comcast for my internet.
Okay.
And I wanted to set this thing up whereby whenever I hit a hotspot,
okay,
that I can use it, but I didn't know how to do it.
My phone actually connects automatically. If you're a Comcast subscriber and you connect to Xfinity's,
I only have the internet.
Yep. Wait, were you referring to anything else but the internet?
No.
Yeah. You can actually once you connect it to your device, you can then have it connect to all the other ones available. Because Starbucks actually, I believe, offers many Xfinity Wi-Fi hotspots. And then you can connect to that as well.
But how do you do this on here?
To talk with them after we're wrapping up. If you have any other questions, we're going to keep moving here. I don't want to hold the library any longer here. I'm going to turn off the recording. We're going to pick out the 3 goodie bag winners. And if you have any other final questions, just catch one of us as we're packing up so we don't hold the doors back here. Okay? I appreciate it.
I was just gonna say, don't you guys do the open help desk?
Yeah, I totally, thank you. I totally forgot about that. If you want us, if you have any questions, any further questions you want us to take a look at, or your device is not working, or how do I do this on my tablet, we do free open help desk here at the Park Ridge Library, second Saturday of every month. So it's coming up in the next week or two at this point. Yeah, 9 a.m. to noon. Second Saturday of every month, we're here. At least myself or my colleague Erica or one of our other colleagues at the company. We're at your disposal. We don't charge for any of the time that we spend with you here. It's a nice service. We've been doing it for a few years. It gets pretty packed now on those Saturdays. So I say if you have something lengthy to talk about, make sure you go ahead and come early, because sometimes people don't even get any help, if there's too many people out the door waiting for the support. So come out, come see us. We'll give you some, some help and assistance with anything you're looking at or need some help with. And, most people find it to be a very worthy event. So it's always an option. Come on out. And again, as I said, we do home and residential and small business support. So if you need professional services for anything, feel free to give us a call. Our contact info is on the table, on the agenda as well. So feel free. I'm going to turn off the recording now so we don't get anyone's name on the recording. And we'll see who's won the items here.